It's quite a cold Sunday afternoon. I'm in the shack and thought we'd run over a few things that if you just bought or thinking of buying a Weber S6 or E6 or Komado, then you might want to get to go along with this bit of kit here. So, as I say, about a dozen things, and we'll run through them. Some of them are generic things that you could use on any barbecue. Some are specific to the actual Komado itself and are made by Weber. So let's start. Okay, first off, this is the thing, start on the outside, the thing that you really should buy, I think, if you live by the sea and the salt air about, or if the barbecue is going to be stood in the outside open to bird smoke, which I find is the biggest destroyer of enamel and marks it in the end like you would your car. Okay, there's copycat versions of this cover. As you can see, it fits quite nicely, and what I also like about it, although I haven't got it done up, there's a strap at the bottom which stops it blowing off in the wind, which is pretty useful because a lot of the cheaper ones are thinner and rip and blow off in the wind. But this won't do that. It's proper thick material, and I know some people that have had them 5 or 6 years now and they're still going strong. So that's the first thing that I would recommend that you buy. I'm not saying keep it on all the while. I must admit, this thing, we're in a shack here which is enclosed, has a roof and all the rest of it, and I don't keep the cover on all the while because there's no need to, but it is great for keeping dust and grime out. So that's my first suggestion of today, the Weber Genuine Barbecue Weber Summit, or Komado as it's now called, cover. Right, next up is the outside of the barbecue. Now, we're all in different parts of the world. That's the thing with the internet. I'm in the UK, so some of the things I use and cook are going to be different to what someone who's stateside uses. I don't do a lot of low and slow, so I haven't got any of those internal dividers that hold the water in them, and so we're all different. But I'm not going to suggest the obvious things that you buy, like a good grill brush, a scraper, and so on. But perhaps some of the things you haven't thought of. And as I say, we're going to start on the outside, and this is my first one I'm going to attach and show you in a second. First item is this thing here that's strapped to the handle, and it's it's a grill light basically. And although I've got lighting in my shack, how many times have you started barbecuing or cooking something late at night and the light fades, you've got a light out in your shack but it's not quite enough? Then this is a great idea. The only thing I will point out, and you'll see from when you look at this close up, is I've actually managed to melt the little plastic cover on the lens. There's two little LED lamps rather, but it still works well. I've obviously left it in the wrong position. Now you can angle it down or whatever to the right angle, and as I say, it turns on the handle to whatever angle. And the other thing is, it's a nice, literally you just got to get your finger anywhere near and those lamps come on. Now you're not going to see because it's daylight at the moment, but what I can tell you is that at night when you really need it, these beautifully light up the grill itself, the area, and you can see the colour of the meat or whatever you're cooking. This is not made by Weber. I don't know if they make one, but it wasn't expensive. I got it through Amazon if you want to get one. As I say, it was a generic make, and time after time it's paid for itself. So hey, normally when you buy the grill, it comes with the standard I think it's 600 or 610 mil grate at the top here for cooking on. Now of course the centre ring lifts out, And then you've got a range of Weber specially made sized stuff that goes in its place. And the sear grate, I think it's called, this one, is a nice little add-on. As you can see, sits nicely on the top and will give you those nice crisscross lines on your steak. Been a Weber component. They're not cheap, I have to say, and cast iron anyway isn't generally cheap. But yeah, they do a good job. The only thing is that a little bit thick. The actual lines it gives you, as you can see, the bars are quite thickly spaced. Would have preferred a slightly thinner grade one. But again, if you like that sort of thing, the marks on your grill meats, then great. So that's number 3, the Weber original part sear plate. Introducing number 4, and that's this plate that also drops into the centre of the grill. And I must admit, I haven't used it that much. The last time I used it was to do bacon and eggs, but a very handy bit of kit, but again, not cheap for something that might sit in your shed unused, but nice to have if you really think you're going to use it. So that's number 4. Number 5. Again, this is a generic make and not made by Weber. I don't know again if Weber make one of these, but it's a Vortex, and people like them for doing chicken wings. I reckon that you get that extra heat output and your wings will crisp up like never before, some people claim. To be honest, my own opinion is you don't really need it. It is quite nice, but there are other ways of getting the wings crisp. But it's a nice little add-on, and they're only thin metal sheeting, so they're not expensive to buy. As I say, this one wasn't Weber and was a few pounds in money terms. So that's my 5th little thought on this one. This is quite handy if you do cooking for lots of friends, or you've got a lot on the grill. It is the Weber official Komado grill extender, which as you can see raises up in height, and you can get a good sized piece of meat under it, but also quite a nice sized thing above it, and the lid still closes down without actually hitting anything. And as I say, I've used it. Number 7, the charcoal grill rake from Weber. It's a genuine part, not overly expensive, and you might think, what am I going to use that for? Well, obviously moving charcoal around on the actual plate itself, but also what I find is the actual, if you've got the ignition thing on your Komado, which is just under where I'm pointing with the rake, the self-igniter, then what I normally do is I'll heat up the charcoal in the 2 trays, and then actually I might want it on a different level, so you can see this lifts it up. I can put it down and then put I'll show you in a minute, an extra one of these, a spare, to save actually physically getting it out each time. So what I'll do is I'll get the charcoal hot in the 2 baskets, and then, as I say, just lift it out and put it down like so. And then, as I say, get the upper grill grate, which I'm going to show you in a second, and then I've got the heat up the top where I need it sometimes. So number 8, although I've just mentioned it, as you can see there's a lower grill plate in place, and then I've got one that goes in the upper part as well, like so. So it just saves me lifting the lower one up, and it's a spare then, because they do get extra hot. As you can see, they tend to warp where the self-ignition is, or if you've got a charcoal basket, whatever on them, that heat can, even though it's thick metal, does twist it about a bit. So that's my 8th recommendation, and they're again directly from Weber themselves. Okay, this one is actually a Weber one, but lots of people make them in different shapes and sizes. But of course this is handy for doing prawns or very small things that can drop through the normal size grill grate. Stainless steel, this one, So it's made by Weber, so it doesn't warp. Some of the cheaper ones, when they get the heat on them, start to warp. But yeah, so this is your Weber. I think this one was called the Weber Style vegetable prawn grill plate. Next up, we've got a pizza stone. Now again, this is a generic make one, and literally was in a garden centre sale, and was only about £4, I think. So bargain, and it's quite large. And I've heard people say they crack sometimes, but I've not had that bother. And as I say, it's the proper thing to cook pizza on. We do have a few pizzas, and I'll probably put a picture of one that I did last night using this very stone. I'm not going to take it out of the box, but it's pretty inexpensive, and again, a well worth accessory to buy. Finally, we've come up with this is the Inkbird Smart Wireless Barbecue Thermometer. Now, Weber do their own bits of kit for temperature control, which you're going to pay a few bob for, and you don't get as much in the box. Let's just open this up and show you if I can. Right, I've had this about 4 years. Again, useful for all types of barbecues. Let's get it out. It's got good Wi-Fi built into it. So look, where's the on-off switch here? So you've got a electronic display, which isn't going to flash much up at the moment until I put something in it. But in the box, you get lots of probes. In fact, there's 4 with this one, and they're all very similar. There's one that goes onto the grill plates to give you the temperature gauge of the actual temperature down at the grill grate level, and then 3 others probes that will go into your individual meats and things you're cooking. And the actual software on this is quite good, because you can set it up the right temperature of beef, pork, chicken, whatever, and it will send an alarm to your phone or your tablet when that temperature has nearly been reached. The other thing that I like about it, which is really useful, is if your charcoal suddenly dies during a cook, which can happen with a damp charcoal or a bad batch, then you're going to get a warning beep here, and you're going to come out before it's actually gone stone cold and you've got to throw the food away. So I really love that about it. It's about half the price of the Weber. I think this was about £60 here in Britain, which would be about $45. Just look out for them. As I say, this is the Inkbird. Let's give you the model number in case they're still making it, although it's 4 years old. It's the IBT-4XS, and it's your smart wireless barbecue thermometer control. Right, to finish off, something that you may or you may not have seen advertised or seen other people using. It's a Himalayan salt block, and basically it's a massive solid salt in block shape. And what it'll do, it'll give you your steaks or your fish that extra salty flavour if you're a salt lover. And obviously what you do is you don't put it on a red hot grill, you put it in as the coals are warming up to get it used to the heat. You can crack it if you try and do that too quickly. But basically, yeah, nice for steaks. You can use it cold without even barbecuing meat, and put the cold meat on and leave it for a couple of hours to soak up some of the salt. As I say, if you're not a salt lover, it won't be for you, but it does enhance a really good steak, I have to say. And that's where we're going to wind up today. I hope you've enjoyed. I think it's been a dozen things that you might want for your barbecue, your Komado S6 or E6. Hope you've enjoyed having a quick look around the shack. And as I say, it's pretty cold Sunday afternoon here. As you can see, it's 1:45 local time. I'm going to wrap it up at that, and we will see you shortly with some more videos, which I go under the name of Shack Videos. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching.